When did you know that you needed to change something?
I remember my husband, he basically grabbed me one day and said, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, then leave. But instead, he called my mom and he told her everything. She knew that I drank and she knew that I maybe sometimes drank too much. She didn't know anything about the cocaine that I was using on a daily basis, nor did any of my family, and nobody knew the extent of it because, like I said, I was a good time. It was only when I went home that the good times went away. I know who I became, and it's not a good person. It's not who you see in front of you today.
Have you heard the saying, the opposite of addiction is connection? We at the Addiction Prevention Coalition know that there's truth in that adage. And so we are fighting addiction face to face, conversation by conversation, creating connection. Here at The Shield, our new podcast, no topic is off limits because there are no limits when it comes to substance use disorder. Welcome to The Shield. This is going to be a fun one. And we're already laughing. We had to get ourselves together before we actually pressed play here. But this is the time where we just kind of come together, chat about all of the awesome things that are happening in Birmingham, shine a light on all the people that are doing incredible work. Because there's a lot of really amazing things happening. There's a lot of inspiring stories about people who have all these different intersections with mental health and substance use and are really doing something about it. So this is our chance. So with me today is Katelyn Whitmore. And I'm going to let Katelyn tell you a little bit about herself. But how would you describe, what's your job? You're a restaurant manager?
Yeah, I'm a front of house manager at a restaurant called Bottega. It's a Birmingham institution, one might say.
Look, Ronnie's like dying over here.
Oh, come on in, babe.
Little fun fact, Ronnie never knows who's sitting in the chair before we start. So he finds out in real time and then try not to get distracted by his like freaking out and laughing at you. Right, exactly. So you're a front of the house manager at Bottega.
That's right.
Okay. So let's just kind of break that apart. And
Sure.
I bet people are probably like, what does this have to do with anything? But keep listening, folks. You're going to find out. So front of house means what for people who don't know?
Yeah, let's get into the nitty gritty of it. So front of house is essentially everything that's not the kitchen. So the kitchen, dishwashers, things like that would be considered back of house. Front is your servers, bartenders, host, management team. So I am manager at Bottega, specifically in the cafe,
Which is fab, by the way.
Wonderful. One of the best places you can go to for lunch here in town. So I am actually the lunch manager at the cafe. So I have kind of normal hours as opposed to most people who are in this industry. Yeah. I work closer to the 9 to 5 than most people do. But I work as a manager. I've been in this industry for 12 years, a little over 12 years. Worked my way starting at a host, and I've been just about every front of house position one could be, and landed in management about a decade ago, and that's what I've been doing ever since. So I find myself very lucky to be placed where I am now. I actually left and came back because I missed it so much. So we can get into that a little bit.
Yeah. So, okay. So you started as a hostess. Like I'm imagining like you in high school being like,
I was fresh out of college.
Oh, okay. So this was not even a high school job.
No,
this was a college job.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I moved to Dallas and I had a job working as a nanny that didn't pay the bills. And so I just needed something
else.
Mm-hmm. And it appealed to me. And I started working in a restaurant and
was it a
fine
life. Dining restaurant? Because Bottega is considered fine dining, right?
It is. And it was kind of on the fence. So in Dallas, there was a lot more casual but elevated dining. And so it was a nicer restaurant, but it wasn't, white tablecloths and super fancy. But it was a nicer restaurant, and I was totally out of my element and super uncomfortable standing at the podium, not knowing what to do. And
right.
I graduated at 22 and was a total moron when it came to like actual life.
Look, aren't we all?
Oh my gosh.
I mean, if I had to go back to 22, I wouldn't.
Oh my God.
Like,
no way.
No way.
No way. Absolutely no way. I had no idea what anything was. I mean, I was great at school. I'd always been great at school.
Yep. And then when school ends,
So I wanted to be a teacher. I actually went to school to be a teacher.
Okay. Which is kind of why you were nannying, I guess.
Yeah, so that was just supposed to be like a tie over job until I got my my licensure in Texas, and I fully intended to go and be a history teacher somewhere.
So what changed?
Restaurants, man. Restaurants changed me. It's one of those things that it just kind of clicked when I started. I was working as a host to start with, and I moved on to another host job, and then I ended up in this really cool sandwich burger restaurant with a full bar called Uncle Uber's. Unfortunately, they closed down about a year ago. But that's where my journey really started into management and what it meant to be career service industry. And I just very quickly realized this is what I want to do. This is what I'm meant to do.
Okay, we are going to talk about that. How, because I don't think that that's something that folks understand. First of all, I will say that I think that it should be mandatory.
Oh my gosh.
For everyone to work in the hospitality industry at some point in time. Whether it's front of the house, back of the house, it should be mandatory because the way people behave to waiters, to hostesses, to busboys and girls, I don't even know what's the appropriate language, but like it is abhorrent how some people behave. So I think that it should be mandatory. Do you agree?
I think that I think it would benefit our society if everyone worked in maybe not necessarily a restaurant, but some kind of service position, whether it's working in retail, I think is
retail, totally, yes.
Also, but anything where you serve other people in some capacity, or you wait on people, or you provide some service for people, I think it's really important that everyone understands what that means from that perspective.
Yeah,
because a lot of people, and I'm not gonna be super negative because I don't want to get in trouble, but a lot of people just simply don't understand. And they're used to being catered to, and they're used to being given things. And I think it's really important that everyone understands what it is to actually serve other people in some form, in some capacity.
And it kind of doesn't matter what's the price point of the restaurant.
Not at all.
Like people, as a whole, we are sort of entitled and we think that we are going to get things on our timeline at our price point. We shouldn't have to tip extravagantly for something that is quote unquote like a basic service, right? And it's I think it's kind of only gotten worse, honestly.
I totally agree. And I look back actually to when I was in college, and I'm very embarrassed to say this, but I'll say it anyway. I remember thinking, and maybe even saying out loud to someone, why would I tip someone at a counter service restaurant?
Right.
Turn around a few years later and I'm working in a counter service restaurant, and I'm realizing why I should have tipped those people. And so I think that, to your point, it's really important for people to have that perspective, to be able to see, like, this is why. This is all of the extra work that goes into it. This is occasionally the abuse that people deal with.
Correct.
And so I think it would just make our society more compassionate.
Yeah. What do you love about your job? Because as you mentioned, you did leave and you've come back, but what's the thing that keeps you in it? Because I think another misconception about the hospitality industry is that it's a means to get to another job.
Yes.
Right? It's not a profession in and of itself, or it's a lesser industry. I mean, celebrity chefs and food culture have definitely elevated how we think of restaurants, but it hasn't necessarily elevated how we think of who works at restaurants.
That's actually a really, really good point. I don't get asked this question often now in the position and in the restaurant that I'm in, but I have heard the question many times, do you have a real job?
Ugh.
Yeah.
Old, right?
Do you have, or what is your real job? Or what do you want to do?
What do you want to do
after this?
After this, yeah.
And so what they're not saying is this isn't a career.
Like, how are you going to make a living at this?
Right.
Like, what is it? Right.
So, but then there's people like me who realize that there's a lot of good that can be done inside the walls of a restaurant. both with the staff and with our guests. So what it boils down to is connection and community.
It's a meal.
Right.
People are coming for a meal.
Right. And sometimes that meal is after a funeral. And sometimes that meal is after, we're close to UAB. Sometimes somebody just got a diagnosis or they just got done with some kind of doctor's visit. And so they may be at one of the lowest points in their lives. And actually just a brief story, a few weeks ago, a woman came in and I could just, hi, how are you? And I got no response. And that can be very frustrating. When you kind of hit a brick wall with somebody and you're just trying to be open and hospitable and welcoming. And so I repeated myself and she kind of looked at me and she was like, I'm not doing well, but thank you. And so I ended up, doing a couple of little added touches to try to make her meal better. I didn't know why, but she came and hugged me at the end of her meal. And then she actually called a few hours later to talk to me, to explain to me that her husband very, very recently passed away.
Oh my gosh.
And this was the first time since his funeral that she'd gotten out of her house. Her son-in-law was taking her to have lunch. And so she was having she's in a season that is probably the worst in her life. And she's dealing with unimaginable grief. And all I can do is provide a smile, some kind words, and a meal. But that moment had such an impact on her that she wanted to call me to tell me how much it impacted her. And so it's moments like that you realize that this is so much bigger than just a meal. And, sometimes it is just a meal.
Sometimes it's a meal, but
sometimes it's a celebration.
Exactly. I was just going to say, sometimes it's a celebration. Sometimes you're commemorating something. It could be a tradition. And where else do you break bread with people? Breaking bread, that word in and of itself, like you're sitting down, you're having a conversation, you're having some sort of a connection because it's a shared experience.
Yeah, that's what community boils down to, right? That's the simplest, and it's as old as time. People have been sitting down together to enjoy food or maybe just to have food, whatever is around. But to sit down and eat something, and that's what communities are built on. And so it's just, I don't think that a lot of people who've never worked in restaurants, and even a lot of people who have, understand how much of an impact we can have with just a meal.
And how much the people who are serving those meals or those drinks are really going through and sorry, my phone is like doing something super weird, but sorry, we can cut that out or we don't have to.
Leave it in.
I think it's like, I don't think people realize what skills and challenges people who are bringing the trays, slinging the drinks, like whatever, like there are some serious and significant hurdles that this industry faces that others don't. And that has led itself to lots of unintended consequences and mental health challenges. Like, I'll just throw out a couple, feel free to add more. Like the fact that if you're bartending, you also might be dealing with somebody on their worst or their best day.
Absolutely.
And you might be the person expected to continue serving drinks, and they're paying you even when you know that maybe they shouldn't have drinks, but they're paying you, right? And
they're not to a legal level.
Exactly. And your pay many times is contingent upon you kissing somebody's ass.
Absolutely.
Which is bizarre, right? Like,
it is.
It is weird. And, the pay structure is not the same in a lot of places. A lot of folks, are barely living a living wage, much less having health insurance. Nights are long. A lot of folks who work in this industry, their night is beginning when everybody else is ending. Mm-hmm. Their hours are wonky. Like, those are some of the challenges. Yeah. I'm sure there's a million more, but those are some of the unique challenges for this industry.
No, absolutely. And people often see bartenders specifically, but honestly, any person in the service industry, we become kind of therapists.
Yes.
Which we are not qualified to be.
Yes.
But we, people at the end of a long day, they want to go have a drink, and sometimes they're sitting with the bartender, and maybe they've established a relationship over time, and or not, but it's kind of a dumping ground.
Yeah, you end up. It's a lot of trauma dumping.
It is. It's a lot, and it can be.
It's
very
like
heavy.
hairstylists too.
Absolutely. Oh
like,
my goodness.
Right, and it's very physical, and it can feel very heavy at the end of the day. And what is your release? If you don't have a positive release, that cannot be great. And the culture can be a little rough.
Right. And if you're getting off at midnight, you're getting off work at midnight, you've just been, sucked dry from your guest. You are physically tired, but also mentally wired.
Wide awake. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it then becomes what do you do at that? How do you calm yourself down? And for most people, I think in the service industry, alcohol is the answer to that question.
Yep.
For me, it certainly was the answer to that question. There were many reasons why early on in my restaurant career, I started going out. One of them was just because I didn't really know anybody.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to
make friends.
And the other was when you get off and it's late at night and like I said, your mind is running. I mean, you can't just shut that off. Anybody who's worked in restaurants will attest to that. You can't just shut it off. You have to kind of come down from that buzz. It really
is a
feels
buzz.
like a buzz.
Right.
And so, the logical thing for me to do was, there's a bar right across the street. There's a bar right next door.
There's a bar right here. And a lot of times you get tipped out in shots. Of
course, depending on where you work. I've not worked somewhere like that since I was in Dallas, so I can't speak to that as much in this town. But that was very commonplace. It was. Lots of times we were taking shots on shift.
Yeah.
I guess somebody comes in and you're getting along and they're dumping
buy
on
you a
and
shot.
then they buy you a shot.
Yep.
Thanks for listening. Here's a shot, And it's really just intuitive, honestly. The way that it's set up, the way that this industry is set up, it's kind of meant for when you get off work, you're just going to go find another place to drink. You've probably already gotten started here.
Yeah. Yeah. So you I don't like when people are like, how bad did it have to get before you stopped drinking? So I'm not going to ask that question. Mm-hmm. So what I am going to ask is, when did you know that you needed to change something?
I wish that I could say it was when my then boyfriend, now husband, told me that I had a problem. I wish it was even before that, when multiple other people told me that they thought I had a problem. But I was really good at justifying anything. Addicts usually are.
But it's also hard when I'm not making excuses, but it's it's entwined.
Totally.
With your job.
I was working at that sandwich shop that I mentioned, but I was also working at a dive bar 1 or 2 nights a week. And we would just start, I'd start when I walked in the door, I'd start taking shots. We were supposed to drink with our guests. That was just how it was. Mm-hmm. And I remember my husband, then boyfriend, saying, can you take a month off of drinking? And I said, yes, I can take a month off of drinking. And, I can prove that I'm fine. I don't have a problem. This is just something I choose to do. Because I was the life of the party, okay?
Look, you're a good time now, okay?
Thank you.
I bet when... I bet there were lots of stories or are lots of stories about you, because you're fun without
maybe
alcohol.
A few of them I remember, but there are lots of stories out there. Please don't at me.
No adding, Katelyn. Okay.
But I decided to take a month off. And at the end of that month, so we knew that the dive bar I was working at, we knew it was going to be closing. They were going to tear it down, build a dental school. It was a whole thing. So we knew it was coming. We didn't know when. So when I agreed to take the entire month of April off that year, I didn't know we were going to be closing the bar at the last week of April.
Oh.
So I made it through most of April, and see, I'm fine. But then, good old justification brain. We're closing. The bar's closing. It's not going to exist anymore. I have all these people who I may never see again, which that's crazy. But like everyone's just going to disappear when the bar closes. But I'm never going to see these people. They want to buy me drinks. This is a party. This is the end of an era. Like, I mean, a mile long reasons why I should drink. And so after almost a month of not drinking, my tolerance was shit.
Oh,
okay?
right.
Because it doesn't take long for your body to like.
Yeah.
So that's probably top 3 most drunk I've ever been in my entire life. I don't remember. That's the thing. Like I wanted to drink for all those reasons, and now I don't remember it. I don't remember saying goodbye to everybody.
Right.
Which is just crazy. But so didn't know then. It took until June of that year, which was 8 years ago. So it was 2017.
Congratulations, ma'am.
Yeah, just reached 8 years a week and a half ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So it was, I'd pretty much been on a bender since that bar closed, and I don't think I stopped. I just kept going for almost 2 months. And my husband, he almost walked out on me, but he basically grabbed me one day and said, I can't do this anymore. And I was like, then leave. But instead, he called my mom, who lives here in Birmingham in the area. And he told her everything. And she knew that I drank, and she knew that I maybe sometimes drank too much. She didn't know anything about the cocaine that I was using on a daily basis, nor did any of my family, and nobody knew the extent of it because, like I said, I was a good time. It was only when I went home that the good times went away, and I was a real asshole. Yeah. And unfortunately, I don't, or maybe fortunately for me, I don't remember a lot of that. But I know who I became, and it's not a good person. It's not who you see in front of you today. So my mom called me, and she and my sister were actually on a beach vacation. So they were sitting on a beach when they called me. And, we all cried, and my mom said, either you get sober and you can, you do it, or we're dragging your ass to rehab and you're gonna get sober. And so I like to pride myself on my stubbornness.
I was just going to say, you are so stubborn, and I love that about you because stubborn. I am also so stubborn. So I see
Lexi's
this.
Like, yes. So I was like, oh, hell no. Like, no. Okay. And that I have not had a drink, and I flushed my cocaine down the toilet. I've not partaken in either substance since then, because that is all it took. Give me an ultimatum, tell me I can't do something, and I'm going to prove you wrong.
I'm going to show you.
I'm going to show you that I can do it.
Well, did you right away think, crap, I got to get out of my job?
I went to a meeting the very next day, and I remember having the shakes. I remember just fully being like, feeling every inch of my body shaking because it was nerves mixed with like, what is happening? Am I really doing this? And then
also, how the hell am I going to support myself?
How am I going to support myself? Right. I can go nanny again. No, no. 1 year was enough.
Yeah, those kids.
I considered, and I've considered a few times since college, do I want to go teach? And then I'm like, no, remember all the reasons that you don't want to do that. Like, you want to make money.
And you're good at your job.
And I'm good at my job. And I was good at my job then. And I was a leader. And so instead of, yes, I did think, do I need to leave my job? But instead, I went to my staff and I told everybody. I think that you have to be open and you have to be honest if you want to stay sober. And so I went back to work and I said, okay, this is what's happening. I'm getting sober. And we were doing cocaine in the office. We were doing it out by the dumpster. We were drinking a lot on shift. It was not a good situation for any of us. And I realized very quickly that me not doing it made other people not do it.
Uh-huh.
Because one, I'm the boss. So if I'm saying,
Right.
I'm saying I'm not doing it, but I mean, I was not somebody who was like, you can't do anything.
Positive peer influence.
Yeah, that's
it's like what we teach high schoolers.
Oh my God.
It's so cool.
It works.
I know. It's so
Because, like,
lame, but it's so true.
It really is. Because I mean, I think that we all thought this job is going to suck and we're going to be bored. And how are we even going to do it? And like, for me, am I still going to be fun? That's
right.
a real question I ask myself very often for the first several months. But I realized, I mean, everybody was just chilling out.
They took your lead.
Yeah, because it was like, well, if she's not doing it, then like, we don't really want to do it either. And let's just kind of like hang out and have a good time and like get our work done and then go home. And we all realized that we got out of there earlier.
I know, right? Isn't that amazing?
By far.
It is pretty amazing. Yeah.
But there was still the issue of like, what do I do when I leave here?
Yeah.
You know,
right.
And I tried to still go out some. And then I very quickly realized that that's just not something that I can do.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people can do that and some people can't.
Especially early on. I mean, the further I've gotten in my sobriety, the more, you know, the less it bothers me what's happening around me. But really early on, I mean, it was, and also, I mean, I would be closing the restaurant, I'm the only one there. I got a bar full of liquor behind me.
Yeah.
I got the well in front of me that I used to sneak shots in when I didn't want the people who already knew how much I was drinking to know I was drinking even more.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there were all these tactics that I had and all these things that I would do, and all of that was still available to me. But that thought of, do I want to leave this job was very, very short-lived.
Yeah.
Because stubborn, right?
Yeah.
It's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to give that up because I think I might, you know, give in to temptation. Had I given in, had I faltered, maybe we'd be having a different conversation. But I was able to just, I mean, by sheer willpower and the support of my coworkers and people in my life who loved me and checked in on me. I was going to meetings and I was doing therapy and all of that together. I realized I don't have to leave this job. Like, I can continue to do this and do it well and not have to just focus on the alcohol part of everything.
Yeah. Because if you were so good at your job drunk, imagine how great you are sober.
Dude, I thought I was amazing. Let me tell you, like, I was like, I've been so messed up and I've still closed. I've always remembered to put the alarm on. And then I like come in the next morning and I'm like, who the hell closed last night? Like, wait, didn't I do an amazing job? Like, what happened between now and then? And then, cocaine brain. Like, you think you're amazing, but you're not.
And now, I mean, speaking of amazing, like, you have a wonderful job with like really nice hours for this industry. Mm-hmm. And you're working for a legendary restaurant group in Birmingham that has been very supportive of its employees and making sure that their team members are getting what they need, including access to mental health support. Mm-hmm. So if we can skip a little bit to how you and I met, it was that we have a mutual friend in common, Brent Bonham, who has been on this podcast before, I think. And he, well, not with me, but with Carrie, but you get what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And he worked and has worked in fine dining for a long time and is working at Bottega. And you were saying, I really want to start this thing that like is for people in this industry, but that's not all about recovery because it doesn't always have to be about recovery. Sometimes I just want to go hang and I want friends who do what I do. And, you know, and Brent was like, you got to meet Nichole. Yeah. And so we sat down and I think what's really cool in my job is that I get bits and pieces from people who are like, I think we need to do this, or does this exist, or how can we make this happen? And a lot of times it's just seriously connecting the dots and then stepping out of the way. And so what now exists is something so cool that you are one of the co-founders of.
Co-founder.
Yes.
What a word.
Yes. Talk about PreShift, by the way.
Yeah, no, I would love to. So
it's, by the way, it's one of my favorite things.
It's
amazing. You talk about it and then I'll tell you why I love it so much.
Love that.
I was getting ahead of myself.
Love it. Yeah. So, I mean, I was just kind of missing, I mean, I think I've used the word community probably like 76 times or something.
Ronnie's counting.
He's got a word count.
Yeah.
But no, it's all about community and connection for me. And working as a manager, I kind of have to keep some walls up
For sure.
in my job. I just professionally, and I think that's really important. And so it's hard to find friends.
It's hard to find friends. Anyway.
Period.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted a way that people who are kind of in similar situations could connect to one another. Because, I like to go and do things and have fun. And every time I do things and have fun with people who drink, they want to drink. And while that's not always a problem, it's not always what I want to do either. And so it was I just want to build a community where we can have people who are kind of like-minded, who have had substance issues, who work in the restaurant industry. Because I remember going to my first meeting and hearing the words, "How do you work at a restaurant if you want to get sober?" And that's a valid question that I think every single one of us have heard in a regular meeting. So it's just, also, how can I make this easier for the next generation of people who are trying to
100%
get sober?
Yes.
So like, I want them to have a group a meeting where they can go and they don't have to spend 10 minutes explaining that, yes, I still work in a restaurant. Yes, there is a bar. I have to practice self-control. You don't want to.
And also, like, it's a meeting, but it doesn't feel like a traditional meeting.
Right. Like we're hanging out
You
and
hang
we're
out
chatting.
in Saturn. It's loud. There's music.
For sure.
There's like alcohol there. Because
yeah.
it's also like, okay, if we meet in a place with no alcohol, but then we're talking about how to like navigate the roadblocks with alcohol, then like that's kind of weird. So
Right.
let's just it's like
Let's just lean in.
Yeah, it's like immersive therapy. Let's just do it.
Yeah,
right?
let's just lean in. Like we all have to deal with alcohol on a daily basis in some capacity. And so it's like it's kind of like the conversation we were having before we started recording. If you give words power, you're giving them power. And it's the same. If you have to take the power away from that bottle, you have to take the power away from that display, right? Like I'm looking at it, there's a wall of liquor. It just blends in. It's just part of the background. You have to be comfortable. You have to get to a place of being comfortable. And it's like they always say with, if you're going to take a test, you should do all the same things as when you were learning it.
Right.
That's how your brain remembers. So it's the same thing. Like if you're immersed with alcohol around you and noise and distractions and all kinds of things, then when you're at work immersed with alcohol and things all around you and all kinds of distractions, you're feeling that same comfort that you were getting in these meetings. And so it's, there are many, many different reasons why this is such a great thing, but it's the fact that we all just get it.
Yeah, the lingo that you all are using.
Yeah,
I mean, it's called
you
PreShift
say "heard" all the time now. Like, you get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, we speak the same, and if you want to curse. Like, say whatever you want. It's not. We don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable or confined. It's all about being open and being honest and listening and talking if you want to, sharing if you want to. You don't want to come, don't come. You do want to come. You want to come 30 minutes late, come 30 minutes late.
And it's not just for people who are sober, right? Like it could be people who might identify as California sober, where maybe they, use hemp products while they're still legal, but can't, don't drink alcohol. Or, you've had folks who have come in who like have the shakes because they literally stopped drinking, or people who, we have one person who comes and they take 2 weeks off, 2 weeks on, like just because they want to,
right?
Because it's self-control and they're also stubborn and they want to make sure that they can control themselves. So it's not like you have to be completely abstinent. You could also just be sober curious,
right? Like you just want to know, like, hey, here are some people who work in this industry that understand kind of my situation and my job, and I just want to like hear what they have to say about being sober. Like maybe this is something that might work for me, might not, but it's totally judgment free. Like you don't even have to be in the service industry, to be honest. I mean, we're just trying to allow people to feel comfortable. Because honestly, I mean, I've walked into a meeting before, and I'm not going to say what thing, but I've walked into a meeting before and just felt so uncomfortable. And like, I don't want to speak because I'm going to be judged for what I have to say. Or what if I accidentally, say a bad word, or I don't use the correct verbiage, or I do it wrong. There's just so many things that we're already dealing with as people who have substance issues. And so we don't want anybody to come in and feel anxious or nervous or worry that they're going to say the wrong thing, because there isn't a wrong thing.
Right.
We just want everybody to be open. And, if you just want to sit there and be silent and sit in a corner and listen, that's totally fine, because we just want to establish a safe place for everybody.
Yeah. What I like, I like so many things about this group. It's one of my favorite things, honestly. I tell everybody about it, and I like it for a couple of reasons. The first is because, I have worked in restaurant and service industry jobs before. I've seen it. I understand, how it is an industry that has been hit really hard by substance use, but in particular, opioid overdose.
Definitely.
And it's been hit really hard. Construction industry is another one. Also, I love so many people that do this work, and people who are either sober or sober curious, or, are just trying, they're just doing their best. Right. And, I wish that this type of group existed for some previous ex-boyfriends.
Same.
To be honest, it didn't, but I'm glad it does now.
Yeah.
I'm also really happy that Anthony Phillips, who was one of our first podcast guests, and he kind of had this wacky idea during COVID, and it's where he met his wife. And, he was also open with his coworkers about the fact that he's sober. And he says that they helped him more times than he cares to admit, because he wanted to drink because it was a really shitty shift. And they were like, dude, what are you doing? And so to walk in and see that camaraderie and see that we've been able to keep going with that, but give it some support from APC. Yes. So Randy, he's never been in the restaurant industry, but he's a peer. He is a person with lived experience. So if he can sit there and help somebody say, oh, well, you mentioned that you wanted a resource about this. Have you thought of this? Or, oh, you're ready to go to treatment? I will go with you. That added support is really nice. Yeah. And didn't exist before, but is something that Anthony really knew that was necessary.
Yeah. It really takes I don't want to call it a burden, but it keeps that weight from being on our shoulders.
Totally. And
because
instead,
again, I'm not a counselor. I'm not a therapist.
No, you are good at what you do, but you are not a trained counselor or peer.
Right.
But it allows you all to lead in different ways.
Yes.
And I love Jess comes up with the social media every week, which is cheeky and irreverent.
Oh my gosh,
and
I don't
love
know.
it.
She's so creative.
You all take turns with topics. You're putting a structure in place. You have lots of plans. And
that's my influence.
I know. You have lots of plans. And I love that. But the thing I think I like the most is that community that you were wanting to cultivate seems like it's happening.
It's happening.
And you're maybe y'all are hanging out afterwards, or you're hanging out on the weekends, or you're texting each other, or you're just sending each other funny memes, which is friendship in 2025. Yeah. But it's it just makes my heart so happy, which sounds so lame, but
not at all.
It's just something that has so been needed.
Yeah. That's what I was craving more than anything. It's just so important to have, here's the word again, community.
Yeah.
It's really important to have a community, and I don't worry as much as I used to that I'm going to be pushed to a point or feel like I need to consume some kind of substance.
Because you're stubborn.
Because I'm stubborn, and hell no, Mom, you're not taking me to rehab. But to know that, I could call Anthony and he would pick up, or I could text Jess and she would respond. I could reach out to Kinsey or Brent or Randy if I needed serious help. To have, those are all people. I mean, other than Brent, this is a whole new group of people to me. These are people that I've never met before.
And this has all been cultivated in the last like 6 months.
Yeah. Like in 6 months. I mean, I tell some of these people things that like I don't relinquish to many, but I trust them with my struggle. I trust them with, my secrets, the dark things that come from, having dealt with substance abuse. And I know that I'm always going to be supported. We care about each other. We want each other to succeed. We celebrate when someone reaches a milestone. And it's just really nice to have a group of people and to know that this is the start, or I guess the resurgence.
Yes.
And it's just going to grow, in one way or another. But one cool way that it's going to grow is this community is only going to continue to expand because, each person goes to someone else and offers support, and it just spiders out. And so this community it's started small, but it's just going to get bigger and bigger. And that's so important to know that there are people in this city who just want to support you, just want to provide a safe space and be there for one another.
Yeah. Every Monday afternoon, Randy will give me an update, and he's like, there were 13 people there. There was somebody that we had none of us had no idea. They just found out about it on social or whatever. Like, I'm getting the updates. Cool. And I think that in our perfect world, like, because they happen Monday afternoons, which is a good day for most folks, right? Because a lot of places are closed.
Service industry for sure.
Correct. Yeah. And I mean, in a perfect world, we'd have one like every friggin' day. Yeah. And that would be so cool. But again, it's like building, it's like the meetings after the meetings too, which are the part that I'm most excited about and really seeing like offshoots of. And are you thrilled about what's happening?
I'm stoked, man. This is beyond what I envisioned. And, I kind of thought it was a pipe dream when I talked to Brent about it many months ago.
Brent's a good connector.
He's a great connector. He knows everybody in this town.
He does know everybody.
I mean, he in the addiction corner and also in the service industry corner and every way that overlaps. I mean, he's the middle of that Venn diagram, but he put us in touch, and I'm so glad he did, because I honestly was like, I don't know what to do or how to do it, but I just want something for restaurant people to do that's not drinking or just talking about drinking.
Yes.
It's been really rewarding already, and we're only like 6 months in.
I know.
So I can't even imagine what's next and what's in the future for us. But I know that it's going to be great, whatever it is.
I am so grateful that Brent introduced us. I'm so glad that you had the idea, and found other people who had similar ideas and have been open. And I'm just really grateful for everything you're doing to contribute to this space. Cause you're creating like a safe space, but it is like a community of people who are like-minded, who love what they do, or maybe they don't love it, but they're good at it and it's paying their bills and they're having a good time. And they're very talented. Like some of the bartenders, like the mixologists who come.
I can't touch that.
Right? I mean, they're so
it's an art form.
Incredibly talented. Yeah. And so I think that in my mind, this is just an additional service that the service industry should get. We need to cultivate that space because they're always providing service for everybody else. So let's provide a service for you all.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, hopefully if we provide this safe space, then maybe we'll see fewer people that we love.
Yes.
Leaving this earth.
Yeah.
So,
and fewer people struggling, fewer restaurateurs or owners thinking that, certain things are acceptable. We didn't even talk about it, but the Stitt family has just been incredibly supportive of this space, right? And does a lot of things that other restaurant groups should really do.
No,
right?
absolutely.
And so this could be a step that could sort of change the industry and draw more attention to it. And it's really neat that you're part of this,
Yeah.
like an innovative idea in Birmingham.
In Birmingham. It's thrilling. And I mean, yeah, just to very briefly touch on that, Frank and Partis Stitt are the best, period. I mean, they've been very supportive of me and my journey. I mean, I came to them sober.
Yeah.
So they don't know me before that, but they've been very supportive of that. And I've watched them support and help other people.
That's right.
And connect people when they need to be connected. And
They're really a recovery-friendly workplace.
they're a very recovery-friendly workplace. I couldn't put that better myself. It's a great place to work. I don't feel tempted. There are no bartenders behind the bars taking shots. It feels safe as far as restaurants and bars go.
Psychological safety is like
It's a big deal.
huge. It's huge. Thank you for like doing the damn thing. Like really.
Thank you for connecting me with other people who wanted to do the damn thing.
You are welcome.
Our community is killing it.
That's right. PreShift that's the name of the group.
PreShift.
It's available on social.
PreShift Beham.
PreShift Beham, 1 p.m. at Saturn
Every Monday.
And it's really like come as you are.
Yeah, come as you are. Come late if you need to. Come early if you want to.
Yep.
Just
come.
Just come. Just be there.
Katelyn Whitmore, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I'm so glad to have met you. Seriously.
Same. Likewise.
If you like what you've heard, and I know you did, please consider rating, reviewing, and subscribing to The Shield and go to a PreShift meeting.
Monday.